Now we move along. I know how much you absolutely adore Russell Wilson. I just want to say, Pete Carroll, great coach. I mean, we know that he's a very good coach. The quarterbacks prior to Russell Wilson, let's just break this down very quickly.
For the Seahawks?
For the Seahawks. Matt Hasselbeck, Trent Dilfer, Seneca Wallace, Charlie Fry, Charlie Whitehurst, Tavares Jackson, Matt Flynn, Russell Wilson, who now has 28 wins in his last 2 years. Can we possibly say that Russell Wilson saved Pete Carroll's tenure as Seahawks coach? Because those are the quarterbacks that he was dealt with. Maybe he's on the hot seat a little bit if he does not inherit Russell Wilson or Matt Flynn doesn't go down with an injury. Is that fair to say?
He didn't inherit Russell Wilson. He drafted him.
He drafted Russell Wilson. Excuse me. Yeah. But is it safe to say that Russell Wilson saved his tenure as Seahawks coach?
I think they
not
saved,
at all.
I think they saved each other. Look, serious big props to Pete Carroll for going for Russell Wilson, because that was a hard choice. I mean, they just paid a ton of money to Matt Flynn as a prize free agent, and anyone who has any inkling of the way things are traditionally done in football would just go with them. To go with this raw rookie, and it wasn't as if Russell Wilson was blowing him out in preseason. He was marginally better. He was just marginally better. And when he chose Wilson over Flynn, there was an uproar in Seattle. Like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? This is reckless, and you're gambling with the future of the franchise. But he saw something in Russell Wilson, and when Wilson struggled his first half of his first 3 or 4 games, people were saying, you know what, this is insane. But he trusted him and went with him. And on that note, I just want to point out that that Malcolm Smith was a 7th-round pick
out of USC.
But Maxwell, 6th-round pick. Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor, both 5th-round picks. Okay, so Earl Thomas is a 1st-rounder. But, you know,
who's also stellar.
The way Pete Carroll operates is that, look, I don't care if you're the 1st-rounder or you're a prize free agent. Whoever's good, that's the guy that's going to play. And he makes everyone believe in the team. Like, if you do your absolute best, you're going to get
Pete Carroll. This is
you're going to get the playing time. It's not about who has the most money, for his contract. It's not about who has a higher draft pick. I think it's a fantastic philosophy.
Pete Carroll, by the way, he joins Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer as the only coaches to win in college and in the pros.
Everybody's too tough on Barry Switzer. Like,
Jank included is tough on Barry Switzer.
I mean, he won. It wasn't.
You're right. He won,
and it wasn't like he was good the 2nd year too. And then it seemed like he was really into it. Like he was a little Steve Spurrier. Like he wanted to work for 6 hours and play golf, drink, go to strip clubs. I don't know that he did. He seems like the kind of guy who would.
So do you agree with my philosophy that Russell Wilson sort of saved Pete Carroll's tenure with the Seahawks?
No, because I think that Pete Carroll's a great coach, and they were clearly not going to go with Matt Flynn, and they would have come up with something else. I don't know if they would have won the Super Bowl, but with that defense, he'd have found a quarterback that got him 10 or 11 wins, I think.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right. So was it going to be Charlie Whitehurst?
No, I mean they'd have done something, and certainly by this year they would have done something. They wouldn't have gone into a 2nd season with Matt Flynn, and they would have, they'd have Carson Palmer, and they would have won 11 or 12 games, gone to the playoffs, and maybe won the Super Bowl with that defense. Even so I think it was a great pick, and Russell Wilson is clearly better and is on his way to a great career and will continue to get better. I mean, that guy, talk about old school stereotype busting of the idea of black quarterbacks, and this guy is athletic, but all this guy did was make one incredibly smart play after another smart play. I mean, everybody who is thoughtful about this knows that all that stuff was crazy, but here was a guy doing the things that we normally, the traits that we assign to white quarterbacks. Like, he doesn't have a great arm, but man, when it's 3rd and 7, he finds the guy, and all Russell Wilson did was find the guy on 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 9 and 3rd and 5 and not just use his legs to run, but use his legs to buy time and throw. I mean, he played literally a perfect game. He didn't hit a 75-yard bomb. He didn't need to. He played a perfect game.
So I was listening to the radio on the way into the studio today, and the Seattle Seahawks general manager was talking, and he said,
"Who is that guy? Why can't I?"
John Schneider, I think is his name.
Because he deserves, obviously, he and Carroll both make that call.
So he talked about Russell Wilson. He said, the concern on him was that he was too short, and that's a significant handicap because you can't throw over the lineman, you can't see over the lineman. He said, but you know what? He scrambles all the time. He rolls out. Yeah. And when you've rolled out, you're basically playing at the same height as anyone else. There's no one in front of you. You have a clear passing lane, and he does such a great job. And he's so smart, and he takes care of the ball so well. He said that they fell in love with him, but so did every other team. Yeah. So what happened was they pretended to not be in love with him. So they stopped going to see him and said don't come to our facilities, and they just played possum and said Russell Wilson, who cares? And then they took him.
Right.
The other person they were looking at was Nick Foles.
Was he a second round pick?
Third round.
Yeah, because there were a lot of teams interested in him. I read that same story.